On Saturday a friend of mine and I decided to do some Amanita muscaria that I had purchased from a supplier. I had read an obsessive amount of literature on it, including Wasan Soma. Divine mushroom of immortality. Yeah, right. After boiling 52 grams of dried mushrooms in water for an hour, my friend ingested 22 grams of the soup and the mushrooms. I quaffed down the remainder. 30 grams that is. I'd tried 8 grams before and since I didn't die of renal failure, I decided, hey, whatever. If I am gonna do it right. A dictum my friend and I always stuck by since our drug-fueled college days. This was at 1:45 p.m. The concoction was the most disgusting thing I have ever had the displeasure of tasting. Yeech. At 2:25 p.m. I started feeling nauseous and lay down on an oriental carpet. The Stone Roses were playing on the CD player. The nuisi seemed to emanate from both my head and stomach. As I lay writhing in this most unpleasant state, my friend was annoying the shit out of me by saying that we should go out, 'cause it was a nice day. I was so seated that the music seemed miles away. At one point I felt like puking, but my friend D had gone into the bog to take a crap and so I just lay there writhing. I told him to hurry up and when he was finally done, I ran to the bowl and puked the most painful puke I have ever had. Worse than a heroin or alcohol puke. Once this was done I felt slightly better, but still really bad. We did a couple of bong hits of D's homegrown skunk and then I proceeded to lay on the carpet again. At this point D got up and decided to go out. I lay on the floor listening to the Stone Roses. They were awesome as ever, but since the music was made for tripping on E and since I was kinda feeling a heightened buzz, the music felt literally like a wall of sound. One song in particular seemed unraveled. There seemed no beginning or end. It's difficult to explain. All the instruments and particular sounds seemed non-cohesive and separated. Unraveled. After a while I started chattering and shivering. It became really cold and the area right above my groin started to feel acutely painful. I don't know my anatomy, but started to wonder if this was where my kidneys were located and whether I was going to have renal failure. Erowid note. The kidneys are located along the spine in the lower back, so this doesn't sound like a kidney problem. I was so cold and shivering I finally got the courage up to get up and head for my bed. I lay under a thick blanket on a sunny spring afternoon and since I was feeling really drowsy and since I was feeling really nauseated I tried to pass out. I did for about what I think was 2 hours. At one point I got up to shut a window and realized that I felt physically powerful and felt a numbness in my hands. My arms and hands seemed to have more strength in them than usual. But the dread of nausea was so great I didn't want to start jumping around or do anything physical. As I lay passing in and out of consciousness, I kinda felt my ego, self separated from the rest of my body. This is the only way I can describe it. I felt like my ego was disconnected from the rest of my physical and mental being. I really don't know exactly how it felt. Like I was looking down at myself and being able to perceive clearly as a third entity, my character and seeing things I should change about myself. I've been referred to as the angry young man by many of my friends and kinda felt like I was viewing this guy, me who was an angry person. I got the same vibe from him as I do from my dad sometimes. I don't recall how much time had passed when I woke up, but I didn't feel any nausea and drowsiness. I just lay in bed, with this weird heightened buzz. It wasn't like a psilocybin, LSD, heightened buzz. I wouldn't even call it a trip. It was just this non-psychedelic buzz. As I lay there I heard D come back. I pretended I were dead in bed and when he came close to examine me I jumped up. Not very funny. We realized that we both had extremely blurry vision. He was at the park and said it was a buzz hassle, 'cause all these rollerbladers kept on passing him, but he couldn't see them until they were passing by him. We were both also sweating profusedly and salivating like mad. The shivering, shattering, chills were still there but not as bad. D was like, dude I feel something but I am not tripping. This sucks, thank God for man-made drugs. I laughed and told him I felt the same. All I felt was this heightened feeling, but it definitely wasn't psychedelic. We both still had blurry vision. All these combinations made me glad that we hadn't gone to the pictures. Matrix was playing. I was really glad it was fading away and that I hadn't gone out. In one word, this really sucked. I sat down, put on some Happy Mondays and Oasis on the CD player and proceeded to draw up 2 lines of Anadinathera colubrina lines, Cohoba. D didn't want any so I snorted both lines in quick succession. Nothing happened. Absolutely nothing. By the way I've tried bonging it and smoking it when I was straight, and still nothing. 4 hours after ingestion, things started feeling normal, but not completely. The blurry vision was still there. So was this weird heightened, doesn't do it for me buzz. We went out to get some sushi and beer. The taste was shite and I couldn't and didn't want to finish my beer and sake, let alone the food. After 7 hours we were back to normal, but fried. Going out to a friend's party and a date afterwards was not really a good idea. Fellow psychonauts, try this shroom, but don't do a lot. I think 15 grams will probably be best. When I did 8 grams a week before, I felt no nausea. I felt a certain clarity of mind, kinda euphoric and confident, and my perception of the world was tinged with a certain sense of holiness. I also felt energetic at one point and got up and started to do a little jig. Music was also amazing, like a wall of sound, with some colors.